Next up, we turn the page to Sunday the 24th on the biggest racing day on the calendar for the thoroughbreds at Remington Park in Oklahoma City. It's Remington Park Derby Day, 10 race card. Now, first post is going to be like a matinee post here, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. You're used to seeing Remington Park under the lights, and you're not used to seeing them on Sundays. This is a special day and special post time for Oklahoma Derby Day. 8 stakes races on the 10-race card featuring the Oklahoma Derby. We'll talk about the Remington Park Oaks and the Oklahoma Derby in just a second. I also want to alert fans to a horse running on the undercard, Jeff, that you want to keep an eye on. In the David Vance Sprint, there's a local 4-year-old named Amos Moses Hart. He won his career debut as a 4-year-old about a month ago by 16 lengths, got a mid-90s buyer, and ran an absolute hole in the wind. You got $100,000 stakes that typically will draw a lot of shippers from out of town on the van with horses coming in for the Oaks or the Derby. There are no out-of-town shippers coming in, and there's probably a very good reason for that when you've got a local horse with the buzz. I have no idea what Amos Moses Hart is going to do in his second career start. It probably can't match what he did in the first, but this is an absolute horse that you want to watch on the undercard in the David Vance Stakes. Really exciting. He didn't make our Stars of Tomorrow because he was, like 4.5 years old until he better be a star of today. There's no tomorrow for a horse who's 4.5 when he debuts. Let's move on to the Remington Park Oaks and get Jeff's handicapping thoughts on this one. It's a mile and a 16th in race number 9. We thought we were going to have some headline names like Hoosier Philly and Taxed in this race. Neither made the trip, but we still got horses from Kentucky, California, and New York in the field. Merlaza comes in from Kentucky for Brad Cox. Honor D Lady comes in off a New York race for Safi Joseph. And Ancient Peace from the West Coast, formerly with John Sadler, now saddles up in the barn of Brian Lynch. So you've got some shippers from out of town, all converging here in Oklahoma City. Who did you give the nod to, Jeff?
I went with Ancient Peace, but it's kind of a leap of faith here because this is a Warfront filly who I saw train all winter, and she's got an incredible amount of natural gift. She has, at least at Santa Anita anyway, she had absolutely no idea how to use it. She was a runoff. She was rank. She would pull. She would completely do herself in, and she'd almost like run on one breath, so to speak. Now, in the morning, she was better, but in the afternoon, she just didn't know how to be a racehorse. And, you could see her form. She'd show speed, and then she'd fall apart. Well, now she's in a different barn. Now she's in the Brian Lynch barn, and she's been back in Brian's barn for at least a month, if not longer. And I know that, she was sent back there with the idea of straightening her out. Maybe it can be done, maybe it can't. But the fact that she's in this race indicates that Brian thinks that she's ready to put to work what she's hopefully learned in the morning, which is to go out of the gate, cruise to the front, switch off, gallop along, and just keep on going. And if she does that, she's going to wire this field. If she doesn't do that, if she resorts to her old tricks, then she'll probably pack it in. Unfortunately, you can't make the wager at the time of the race. You've got to have to go in there hoping that she's going to do it. You may find out that you've got a losing bet going into the backstretch. You know what I'm saying? But if she makes that clubhouse turn from the outside post, she cruises over there. You won't have to send her because she's got enough natural speed. I think Ancient Peace can beat this field. Now, I'm not saying 5-2 is any great shakes of a price. I'm not sure she'll be that short of a price. But, boy, I'm telling you this. This is her chance to really turn things around, and I'm really curious to see if Ancient Peace will have learned something, anything, since joining the Brian Lynch barn in recent weeks.
Well, give her a shot, and you can get up to $10 back on a money-back special. Every race at Remington Park on the Sunday card on Oklahoma Derby Day has a $10 money-back special on win bets when you play with First Bet and Express Bet. So if your win bet finishes second or third, take a shot with Ancient Peace. If she runs second or third, you get up to $10 back in your account. I'm with you. I'm on her in that race, and I think from a pick 4, pick 5 kind of standpoint, I think you're looking at the 3 big shippers from the 3 main circuits, Cox, Joseph, and Lynch with with the players in there. And I would be surprised if we get beyond those three in the Remington Park Oaks. But I think it's a 3-deep situation if you're playing the multi-race wagers. Let's go to the 10th race on Sunday at Remington Park. It is the final race on the card, the anchor to all the multi-race wagers, and it is the $400,000 Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby, won last year by Rattle and Roll for trainer Kenny McPeak. We'll see who gets the candy this year. Last year, it was a 3-year win streak in the Oklahoma Derby snapped for trainer Brad Cox. He had won it in 2020, 21, 22, or 19, 20, and 21. He was beaten last year with the favorite running third. He's back this year. Brad Cox has Hit Show to the outside of the starting gate in here. We saw Hit Show in that replay just a little while back when we were looking at his stablemate Saudi Crown. They both ran last time out in the Jim Dandy. A dull effort in that one from Hit Show, who just didn't fire at all. He was up closer to the pace than what he usually does, and he's a horse, Jeff, who we've always talked about as a solid finisher, but he kind of needs pace in front of him, and now he's trying to go to the front a little bit more, and they add blinkers on Sunday. I don't understand that at all with this horse. I think he's better when you kind of take back and the field sets up for him, and he just makes a run grinding at him. I don't like the blinkers on Hit Show from the outside post in this particular spot. He feels very vulnerable to me.
Funny thing about Hit Show is back in the 100 years ago, 80 years ago, in the 30s and 40s, they wouldn't add blinkers. They'd plug him in. You know what I'm saying? Can't do that. No. So you add blinkers. That's the best thing. And Hit Show, to me, is a one-pace grinder who seems like he's happy to sit fourth and just stay there, you know? Mm-hmm. He doesn't really have a style. He doesn't really have a move. He's kind of like wherever he is. And I'm interested that maybe Brad is thinking the blinkers will wake him up a little bit, whereas other means are not legal. So, you know, to me, I think Hit Show from the 13-hole in the Pratt, I think he's got a chance to show good tactical speed. And again, I'm thinking that Hit Show is the kind of horse who's maybe going to end up at the wire where he is in the first part of the race because he doesn't pass anybody. Right. And look at this race, Jeremy. Where is the speed? Tell me where the speed's going to be here. And then I'm going to try to figure out whether Hit Show is going to be able to get over and get into a good pace pressing position.
Yeah, I think Ghost Hero from the rails definitely got speed. He's going to be part of the pace. Tumbarumba in the 2 won't be far off of it. Heroic Moves got some speed for Robertina Diodoro coming in from Canada, a former Kentucky runner. But that one takes blinkers off as they try to nurse the 1 1/8 trip out of that one. I don't think it's a super fast pace. I think you want to kind of be up in the mix in this particular race. And Remington Park plays speed anyway. Not like Prairie Meadows in terms of just blatantly speed favoring, but certainly front runners do well at Remington historically. And I would assume the track will be fast on Saturday or Sunday afternoon and into the evening for this race. I thought Tumbarumba, the Ellis Park Derby winner for Brian Lynch. You like Lynch in the Oaks. I'm taking Lynch in the Derby. Mm-hmm. I thought the race last time was really good. It was that pseudo 2-turn race, right? The 1 turn, right. The bend turn there, the left-hand L, if you will, at Ellis Park last time. Really has not run 2 turns on the main track in his career. A couple 2-turn turf races we can't make anything out of. But by Oscar performance out of a street sense mare, there's no reason at all this horse can't go long, and finished up strong on the back end of the last one. So I like the post. I like the way the pace sets up in this race, where I don't think it's particularly fast. And again, Ghost Hero's kind of a sprinter miler max, and when he goes a mile, can't get that far. So it's kind of like Ghost Hero on the lead under Floyd Wetty probably goes right to the front, and you get to sit second or third behind a horse you don't respect. That's the perfect position to be in. So I think Tumbarumba is going to get a really good trip in here, and he ended up being my top pick in here. But this is a race where he doesn't necessarily have the credentials of some of the others, right? We do have 3 Triple Crown alumni in here. Raise Kane, we talked about. We already talked about Hit Show. And then there's Red Route 1, a horse who was part of the Preakness and Belmont Stakes, 4th in the Preakness this year. Red Route 1, last time they tried the turf, Winchell, a part of the ownership group of Kentucky Downs. In the big Kentucky Downs Dueling Grounds Derby, I think they were kind of running a house horse in there and just seeing maybe how the turf would work out for him. He did break his maiden at Kentucky Downs on the grass, but I throw that race out for Red Route 1. He's probably closer to the form that he was in the West Virginia Derby than he was last time out in the Dueling Grounds Derby. And let's give a look at Red Route 1 here, and off the pace type, and how he won the West Virginia Derby 2 starts back.
It's Once in Vermilion and West Coast Cowboy. They straighten together from Raise Kane, and down the outside, Red Route 1 is coming on strongly. 3 chances. Red Route 1 has all the momentum, and it's a rootin' tootin' West Virginia Derby. Red Route 1 goes on to win by 4. A photo for second, very tight, and the time was 1:49.49.
So Red Route 1 gets jockey Joel Rosario. They teamed up to win the Bathhouse Row at Oaklawn this spring. Late running horse with a great late running jockey. That seems to be a good pairing. But Jeff, I've been waiting on Red Route 1 for a long time. I know he won the West Virginia Derby, but he's 3 for 13 lifetime, which means he's lost 10. He's never won 2 in a row in his career. He's just kind of a horse who is going to make a run, but I don't know if he's going to make the winning run in here. I like him underneath, but I don't like Red Route 1 on the win end on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, he's capable, I guess, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm just looking at Hit Show though, and I have this vision in my head as the field hits the far turn and the pace not fast, and he's sitting on the outside waiting to pounce. And Hit Show is in his own mind thinking, okay, 5/16 pole, where's Forte? Where's Saudi Crown? Where's Angel of Empire? Where's Arcangelo?
They're not in this race.
Where's
Yeah.
Mage? Where's Two Phils? No, I'm looking at Ghost Hero, and I mean that's the vision I got. Oh, okay, maybe this is a race I'm supposed to go out and win, and that's I think will happen. So that's that's one way of handicapping it. And if Hit Show is ever going to be a good horse, and I'm not sure he ever will be, but if he's ever going to be one, and he certainly should be a 4-year-old being by Candy Ride, this is the race he has to win. So we'll see what happens.
This is a race that's produced some horses towards the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile in recent years, and horses that have run pretty well in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So don't be surprised if you catch some of those consolation 3-year-olds looking for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and avoiding the Classic. Hit Show has Flavian Pratt in the saddle for the first time. That never hurts. Couple rider notes in here. If you got the early past performances and at the time of entry, we were a jockey to be announced on the 3-race cane. That's going to be Umberto Rispoli. He's going to come in from California to ride Race Cane. So good jockey pick up there on the 3-race cane. And also Groveland, who is the 11 horse in here for Owen Hardy and Godolphin. Jesus Castanon, the Preakness winner aboard Shackelford back in the day. Jesus Castanon to ride Groveland. He's going to make the trip. He's ridden him in each of his last 2 starts. So those riders are filled in. Also, one other program note in the Oklahoma Derby. West Coast Cowboy is cross-entered in the race at Parks, the Pennsylvania Derby. He is expected to run at Parks. So we're looking for West Coast Cowboy to scratch out of here, the Oklahoma Derby. And again, put Rispoli on Raised Cane and put Castanon on Groveland in Sunday's Oklahoma Derby.